Hello, welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving straight into the 19th episode of the story Shadow Slave. This one is called Crossing the Bridge. So, let's set the scene, because it is incredibly atmospheric. Picture this. Cold snow is just drifting down from the sky, blanketing the hard ground in this stark white layer. And there's our protagonist, Sunny. He's standing right in front of a pair of massive, seemingly indestructible red gates. Now, these aren't just any gates. These are the doors to the legendary Awakened Academy. It's this heavy, superimposing threshold sitting right between the normal world and a place of immense, terrifying power.
You see, the Academy, it really isn't just a school. It is literally a city within a city, built like a hardcore military fortress. We're talking high walls forged from impenetrable hard alloy, a massive deep moat, and a ridiculous number of large-caliber turrets placed everywhere to create this deadly air suppression dome. The sheer scale of these defenses is honestly mind-boggling, and they were designed with one absolute uncompromising purpose: making sure absolutely no nightmare creature, not even those colossal towering titans, could ever break through and slaughter the people inside.
Now, there is a pretty stark, almost cruel contrast between what the public thinks happens here and the actual harsh reality. In this world, the Awakened Academy is legendary, right? It's the backdrop for all the most popular webtoons, youth dramas, you name it. The media absolutely loves to portray what happens behind these walls as these grand adventures, thrilling rivalries, and sweeping romantic entanglements between young, beautiful heroes. It totally captures the public's imagination. But Sunny's reality? Well, it couldn't be more different. He knows he only has 4 grueling weeks here before he is thrown directly into the lethal dream realm. So yeah, he has 0 time for any messy romantic entanglements. His only goal is to learn how to literally survive. There's absolutely no time to waste. So as Sunny is just waiting there in the freezing, silent snow, he suddenly realizes he isn't entirely alone. Standing right beside him is another new sleeper. She's a tall, slender girl, probably around his age, and she's dressed in the exact same police-issued tracksuit that he's wearing, carrying absolutely 0 personal belongings. But man, she has this really distinct, almost strange vibe to her. She has these clear, gray eyes, short silver-white hair that's neatly parted to the side, and she's wearing this old-fashioned pair of headphones, just calmly listening to her music. She radiates this detached, highly self-sufficient, yet incredibly lonely aura. It's almost like she exists in a completely different world from everyone else. Now, you might be thinking, oh, this is the perfect moment for 2 heroes to bond, right? Nope. Sunny, fueled by his deeply ingrained street-smart paranoia, flat out refuses to speak to her. And why? Because of his aspect's flaw. He's panicking a bit internally, thinking, who knows what kind of terrible situation he'd put himself in if he just opened his mouth and that damn Flaw took over. So instead of striking up a chat, he keeps completely to himself. He just shoots these quiet little glances her way, silently wondering what kind of mysterious, burdensome flaw this silver-haired girl is secretly saddled with. Suddenly, that tense silence is broken. This giant, ridiculously thick sheet of reinforced metal that makes up the gate slowly begins to descend, acting like a massive drawbridge. As the gate lowers with this earth-shaking rumble, Sunny looks ahead with total grim determination. But his mind actually drifts away from the snow and the girl beside him. Seeing those gates open triggers a massive flashback to a really pivotal conversation he just had. Master Jet's parting words start echoing loudly in his head. So let's jump back exactly 1 hour earlier. Sunny is getting this incredibly rare, luxurious ride through the city in a personal transport vehicle, or PTV, and it's being driven by Master Jet. Now, for a kid from the outskirts who is used to the absolute grime of public transit or sitting on the hard plastic back of a police cruiser, sinking into the plush seats of a PTV is a totally foreign, almost unbelievable experience. He feels so incredibly out of place. As they're watching the gleaming city sights just fly by the windows, Jet suddenly turns to him. She mentions that since they both come from the unforgiving outskirts of the city, she is going to give him 3 vital pieces of advice. And Jet? She does not waste time. She hits him straight away with rule number 1. She warns Sunny that the second he registers at the academy, the officials are going to offer him psychological counseling. And on top of that, they're going to offer him highly valuable rewards, things like precious soul shards, if he just agrees to share his experiences in the nightmare and the details of his appraisal. Naturally, Sunny is a bit confused. He asks if she actually wants him to see a psychiatrist, but Jet just explicitly shakes her head, absolutely not. She tells him he needs to flat out refuse the offer.
The chilling reasoning behind this first rule literally changes everything. Jet explains that Sunny is just way too green to understand the real dynamics at play here. In the dream realm, bloodthirsty nightmare creatures, they are only half the problem. Once an awakened grows powerful enough, other humans become an equal, if not greater threat to you. And the absolute easiest way to defeat a powerful awakened is to exploit their flaw. That is exactly why the government tempts young, foolish students with soul shards to spill their secrets. Because as Jet points out, once two people know a secret, it's no longer a secret. In a government that huge, your lethal weakness is going to leak eventually.
Then, Jet hits him with rule number 2, and this one completely subverts Sunny's expectations. You see, the Academy offers this massive catalog of courses. We're talking deep dives into nightmare creatures, various types of sorcery, artifact study, and all kinds of extensive combat training. Sunny had already been stressing out, agonizing over which specific weapon he should spend his precious 4 weeks trying to master. But Master Jet's advice? Disregard all of it. Literally ignore every single flashy, exciting combat course on the roster. To explain why, she asks Sunny a super pointed question. What was the biggest threat to your life during your first nightmare? Now, let's think about this for a second. Sunny faced down a literal monstrous tyrant. He went toe-to-toe with Gregor, the author of the Nine. You'd probably assume one of those terrifying, crazy combat encounters was the closest he actually came to dying, right? But when Sunny stops to really think about the absolute end of his journey, he realizes the true answer. It was the cold. It wasn't some giant sword, and it definitely wasn't a monster's claws. It was just simple, unrelenting, freezing exposure to the elements that almost took his life. Jet gives this knowing little smile at his realization, confirming that, yeah, he is smart enough to recognize where the real danger lies. And that is exactly why Jet insists he only attend one specific course, wilderness survival. Sure, the wealthy city kids might have had private tutors teaching them these survival skills, but outskirts kids like Sunny and Jet, they only know concrete and neon lights. The dream realm is almost entirely untamed, brutal wilderness. She asks him point blank, do you know how to make a fire? Do you know how to procure food? Can you actually find safe shelter? The answer is a hard no. Being able to fight monsters is totally useless if you just end up dying from hunger or exposure anyway. Sunny actually gets pretty angry with himself here. It was so obvious, but his brain was just totally stuck in its lazy city living routines. The flashback starts to wrap up as Master Jet stops the car. Sunny steps out, and he's just momentarily stunned by the colossal metal gates of the Academy looming right in front of them. Jet stays near the vehicle, looking grimly up at those massive walls, and she simply states, "This is as far as I go." She tells him someone will come fetch him soon. But as she looks at him, Sunny notices something incredibly dark lingering in the depths of her icy blue eyes, and this sudden, sharp, cold feeling just spreads through his entire body. Shivering, Sunny asks her for the third and final piece of advice. Jet sighs, and she delivers this really heavy truth. She tells him to remember that no one can survive in the dream realm alone. Going solo is simply not an option. She urges him to try and just go along with his peers. Even if they treat him terribly, even if they're completely arrogant or dismissive, sticking with a team might just be the one single thing that saves his life out there in the dark. With a final pat on his shoulder, she tells him to make sure he keeps himself alive, then she gets back into her PTV and just drives off. Snap back to the present moment. That heavy metal sheet of the gate finally finishes its slow descent. The bridge hits the special grooves in the icy ground, and it locks into place with a definitive, super loud set of heavy clicks. The time for waiting is officially over. The threshold into the Academy is finally open. As Sunny prepares to cross that bridge and step into this intense new reality, he quickly recaps Master Jet's 3 rules in his mind, cementing his survival blueprint. 1. Keep your flaw and aspect an absolute secret, and refuse all of those government bribes. 2. Ignore the fancy weapons and learn how to actually survive in the harsh wilderness. And 3. Play nice with the other sleepers, because you literally cannot survive alone. Now, on paper, those 3 rules don't sound too incredibly difficult, right? But as Sunny stares into the cavernous entrance of the Academy, this incredibly grim realization washes over him. For some reason, deep down in his gut, he is absolutely sure that these next 4 weeks of training are going to be just as challenging as his first brutal nightmare. Or maybe even worse. The real test is just beginning. If you like the story, please like and share it, and subscribe to the channel to watch future episodes. Thanks for watching.